So this week, we'll get the report from the second Royal Commission on our COVID, Royal Commission inquiry on our COVID response. So during the pandemic, one of the things we were told repeatedly was trust the science, right? So there was this constant refrain, trust the science, trust the science. But what did trust the science really mean? What it meant was listen to the epidemiologists telling you what to do and what not to do. This was a very narrow definition of science. Epidemiologists can certainly tell us about things like case fatality ratio, infection fatality ratio, of pathogens and their prospective paths of transmission. Fine. But what we then do with that data, what level of risks we're willing to tolerate, what costs we're willing to bear, what freedom and liberties we're willing to sacrifice. These are no longer questions for epidemiologists. In fact, epidemiologists need understand and appreciate very little of this. So these questions on the economic costs and benefits, on civil rights and liberties, right? These questions should not be left to epidemiologists. They are not the right scientists to deal with this. This requires expertise from other social sciences and particularly economics. And so this lack of engagement with other experts had serious consequences. Faced with recessions and job losses, governments around the world, and particularly New Zealand, took to printing large amounts of money in order to keep interest rates low. So if you take my Economics 151 course, I will explain to you interest rates, money supply, what does money printing mean? Why do you do it to keep interest rates low? Why do you want to keep interest rates low? But fine, governments printed enormous amounts of money to keep interest rates low. What did this do? This fueled a huge speculative bubbles in things like houses. House prices went through the roof. And it set off enormous amount of inflation, rising prices. In some senses, we are still paying for that inflation even today in the cost of living crisis. Lockdowns were devastating to blue collar workers who did not have the luxury of working from home and who lost their jobs as people moved to online transactions. But the so called laptop warriors, the laptop class, who could easily work from home and did not face the prospect of job losses, cashed in on the low interest rates by buying a second, third, fourth, fifth investment properties. Among other things, this results in a significant transfer of wealth from the young people to the elderly, to the older, and an increased inequality. So the idea was beguiling: force people to socially distance to prevent disease propagation. But underlying this was an acute misunderstanding of human behavior and reactions. Consequently, our lockdowns have inflicted massive social and economic damage that will take years to undo. Okay, that's it for now. Talk soon. Bye.